In August of 1953, a few local actors were looking for a place to do summer stock. Meanwhile, Fletcher and Margaret Collins had been thinking about transforming their Stanton farm, called Pennyroyal, to a theater, except at the time it was full of hay and sheep, not lights and props. Fletcher was head of the drama department at Mary Baldwin College, and Margaret, among many other talents, had been a great writer. Each had a deep appreciation for the arts. In addition to the barn, they also owned an Oak Grove, which would eventually become the home of the Oak Grove Players, still in existence today. But what about that old farm? Well, more than 20 years later, three trailblazers saw beyond the hay and sheep and found props and lights. Thanks to Margaret and Fletcher Collins, who were considered the Valley's great arts patriarchs, Pennyroyal Farm was transformed into an internationally known writer's paradise called ShenanArts. It is on this farm, known as Pennyroyal, that dreams are made, where nature provides nourishment for the written word. It's been a long haul for Paul Hildebrand, Bob Small, and Kathleen Tosco, the three individuals who make ShenanArts work. But they are like the ubiquitous perennial gardens that simply become more vibrant each year. Plays are written here, and like gardens, they need tending to avoid the weeds, for flowers to flourish. So far, this garden is in full bloom. And this night is a celebration, a time to reap what has been sown. In its national advocacy campaign, Bravo, the National Arts and Film Cable Network, is honoring the Stanton Company. ShenanArts is one of 4 groups in the nation to win the Bravo Arts for Change Award. On this night, ShenanArts goes national because through theater, they have offered young people, some who are at risk, a route to personal success. Under the inevitable force of nature, though, it is raining, so the award will have to be given in a somewhat cramped interior. Not only a set designer's dismay, but a vast contradiction to the simple green hollow that is Pennyroyal Farm. But these are professionals, and the show must go on.
It's been a long journey, and it ain't over yet. ShenanArts was founded in 1981 with a dream and a vision, and that was to try to bring together 3 words: arts, citizenship, and community. As you can imagine, when I go to mixers or small civic groups or cocktail parties and whatnot, and that first question comes, well, what do you do? And I say, well, I'm in... And I take a deep breath, theater. That's nice. And the eyes sort of glaze over, and I can understand that. Because for most people, their experience of live theater, it's not, I mean, let's be real, right? If you have a choice to go to a play or a movie, 9 times out of 10, which one are you going to pick? All right, the play. All right.
65% of our money is contributed, and the rest of it is earned through box office tuitions and fees that we charge. We try to keep the box office and the tuitions low enough so that people can afford to come, and so that we don't price the average kids and the kids with lower incomes out of our programs. The other 65% of the money comes from contributions. About 10% of it is contributions from the Virginia Commission for the Arts, the City of Stanton, Augusta County. And the rest of it comes from corporate support and from individuals. We receive a lot of our contributions from ordinary, average human beings who just think that what we're doing is worth supporting, and they write that check. Big or little, there's no check too small to make a difference in the programs.
And with
We have an amazing collection of playwrights, so I'm going to ask some playwrights to serve another function.
Robert Graham Small, his friends call him Bob, is the founder and director of the Shenandoah International Playwrights Retreat. He says the entire project initially was a creative accident.
Now, this creative accident did involve a lot of work. We applied for a United States Information Agency grant in 1987 and got it, you know, against some pretty high-powered competition. That brought us 15 writers from all over the world, 6 continents. In this case, they were playwrights, they were novelists, they were poets, journalists, and we put together a 7-week program for them where they started here. We took them to a folklife festival, took them to Washington, D.C. for a crash week in media. We took them to New York City, where we really dealt with the art of publication and translation and adaptation. And they dealt with guests from all over the publishing world in America in each of these locations.
Lights out as the sound of the violin rises sharply and continues into this next scene 6 as we see Juliet still in her bikini standing atop the low parapet at rear looking out at the distant sea. Only a few
A playwright is the spelling of it. W-R-I-G-H-T is a right, and that spelling means somebody who builds something. There are wheelwrights, there are cartwrights, and there are playwrights. And since plays are built, and they're built out of part fiction and part truth, part history from their own playwrights' personal history, they write them in a series of scenes. And Bill Gibson, a famous playwright, said, a play is a lot like a plane ride. Once you take off, if you stop, you're dead.
Pop, I'm afraid.
Take this. Speak to no one.
Are you hurt?
Speak to no one.
The whole farm is a performance spot. Now, some places are really best for daytime performances. We have up over the hill behind the barn here the Story Tree, which is, particularly on a hot afternoon, you're in the shade. It's a beautiful location. There's an intimacy and you're outdoors, so a pastoral setting. Down here is the Playhouse. It serves for your apartments, houses, offices. It's a great little pseudo-interior space. It also is an outbuilding built around 1870, about the same period as the barn, where the house itself is 2 phases of construction. 1808 is the front part of the farmhouse. If you go to the Frontier Museum and sit in their living room, you're sitting in our living room, but our house is a good 80 years older than that house, with the same windows and doors design. And then 1870 is the modern addition was put on, making it an L farmhouse. So we perform here on the deck, up in the mow of the barn, the Story Tree, down on the patio, under this tree, wherever the fancy takes the director and playwriting team.
This year, it is the Voices of Asia.
Well, I'm working on a play about schoolgirls that in Hong Kong. I'm taking out from incidents that happened in the 70s. Actually, it's a secondary school. What is the high school compared to the high school here? That the girls go on a sit-in demonstration against the school and causing the school to close down.
The first emperor's last days, and it is about 4 people who have been asked to write a biography of the Qin Shi Huang, who was actually the first emperor of China. Except that I've set it in modern times, so they have computers and they have telephones and television and all that. The 4 have been asked to write the biography. The last guy who left the group was reputedly beheaded because he didn't live up to expectations. It's a study of dictatorship, of power, and of democracy. And also, it's also about real estate.
Security! with women. They're too hard to please.
You? Of course. Who did you think I was?
Most works that begin in Virginia are produced in the writer's native countries.
And I basically write in Chinese, and so this is, well, not my first time, but not very many times that I have written in English. So my script will not be that good to perform in the States. But I definitely will perform it in Hong Kong. I teach school in Hong Kong, so I probably will bring this script to my school and perform it there. And it would be excellent because all my students are like young teenagers, so this play is suited for them.
Visitors from other countries oftentimes force natives to see beyond what has become mundane. When new ideas are permitted to seep into the garden, human beings then allow themselves the time to truly smell the flowers. To the Asians, nothing about Virginia is ordinary.
Great. I love Virginian ham.
Yeah, we have that yesterday night and today too. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful country because we don't have, farms and, big open spaces like that. And, for example, this farm is tremendous, 21 acres.
And it's so green. I just like to walk around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a couple of days, almost a whole week to sightseeing before we actually go back to our desk and work.
And people are so nice and friendly here. I mean, it's great, you go to anywhere and people say hi and ask where you're from, and they are so friendly.
But what the Asians do not realize is that their presence engenders such an atmosphere. What Americans do realize is that their country, the strongest power in the world, is small after all. And they, as sophisticated citizens, are not smarter, richer, or better. They are simply equal.
We all changed. Having 15 writers from other perceptions, it was amazing how much we really had in common when you sit down and eat. And it's also how we are unique is so special. And it became a celebration of that. Culture is myopic. It's a reflection, a mere reflection of our time and our place. But our place now is a global place. And by working with writers internationally, I find that my eyes open wider, that my peripheral vision becomes greater, that I understand my place as an American in this world in a very strong and vital way that I didn't before.